Hey loves, Paula here with the Healed Love Era. I'm your nurse, your health coach, and your truth-telling big sister. Yes, I've had a long day in the OR today, but go ahead and grab your water, your coffee, your tea, your wine, bourbon, beer, whatever you're drinking today. Tune in with me, and we're going to talk about how childhood wounds, yes, my favorite topic, affects some of our adult relationships and how we keep going back to some of these relationships over and over because we think the connection is powerful, that there is love, but in reality it's just the pattern that is powerful. When connection in childhood from your parents was inconsistent, it was attention one day, distance the next, your nervous system basically learned something very specific, a pattern, that love is something that you have to work to get back or you have to earn, and love is not that. As children, we couldn't leave that relationship, so what did we do? We learned to repair. We would work harder. We would show up differently. We would do the work. We would behave. We would do the things that they told us to do. We would wait longer, or we would hope that connection would return. And we do the same as adults. That pattern doesn't disappear once we are over the age of 18. If we're in a relationship with someone or we're dating somebody and they disappear, they pull away, they become emotionally unavailable, our nervous system recognizes that feeling. So not because it's healthy, but because it is familiar. It is pattern. And familiarity can feel like chemistry when we are older adults and trying to get the attention that we didn't get or the validation that we didn't get from that one parent sometimes too. Some of us have mommy and daddy issues, not just one or the other. But that familiarity in adult relationships can feel like chemistry. Part of you is hoping that the story will end differently this time. If you show up different, if you do the thing they ask you to do, if you meet the condition, because it's not unconditional love. This bond that you have is not unconditional, it is conditional. But if you meet the condition where they can show up and love you, then everything will end differently this time. But you want that love to be consistent. You want that love to be validated when it wasn't as a child. And you will sometimes seek that throughout your adulthood, I can tell you. And you're hoping that that love will finally stay. If you've been abandoned over and over, if you know my story, there's been a lot of abandonment in my life. So it's something that I struggle with in every relationship. I've gotten better. I've learned how to cope. I have to really just keep to myself a lot when I am in that overdrive or that overthinking state, because it does push people away. But we're hoping that that love will finally stay, that will finally be validated, that will finally be enough, that that connection will finally be consistent. And that younger part of us that didn't get what we needed as a child to feel chosen, we will finally be chosen. Healing begins when we stop trying to finish the old story with the wrong people, whether it be that validation we never received from our parent. And children will adapt. We'll learn how to adapt, even though it's during a time of our life that it's probably a time that we shouldn't be teaching ourselves how to adapt. But because that has become a familiar pattern and it has carried over into adulthood, it's something that as adults we must unlearn. When survival mode takes over, I want you to remember this one thing in 2 Timothy 1:7. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. Anything that is from God is going to show up in this way. It's going to be peaceful. And because we're used to that chemistry, we might find it boring. Love the boring, because the boring is from God. The peace is from God. The clarity is from God. The confusion and the hurt is not. And if you remember me saying yesterday, what are we going to do? We're going to regulate first, and we're going to respond after. We are not going to act impulsively. We are not going to react. We're going to handle our hearts with respect and with love and all of the other things that we didn't receive as a kid that we've carried over into adulthood, into our safe adult hearts. Welcome to your Healed Love Era. Have a great evening. Bye, loves.